Hello, and welcome to What Am I Doing? The Dungeons & Dragons podcast where one experienced dungeon master and one failed scriptwriter discuss D&D topics. My name is Kinsey, and my ridiculously inadequate pod partner is...
Lewis McCaffery.
It's New Year, New Me season, Lewis.
It is indeed.
What would you change about me if you could?
Oh, about you? Oh,
yes,
okay.
On the spot.
Oh, this is on the spot.
We go way back.
We do, kind of.
I was there at your christening.
What? Oh my god, it was you holding me. I knew I recognised you from somewhere.
I was the water.
Yeah, you was.
I'm all around you.
Is that why I've dreamt of having you just run across my face ever since I was born?
As water?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
What would I change about you? I would probably make you less charismatic because it's quite hard to resist you sometimes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I thought of myself as more of a fighter, you know, a staunch guy who goes around, goes in pubs, goes... Or you. Yeah, you. And I picked the smallest person in there to prove my...
To prove your dominance.
To prove my dominance. I just kind of stand over them. I sniff where they wee. And,
it's more creeping
and then do it after like a hound.
Wait for them to leave and then say, yeah, you better run.
Yeah, or yeah. Or I say it but when they're asleep. I don't follow them home because I'm not allowed. I just say it when I'm in my own house.
My own house? Thinking
I don't even need to be in them to show how strong I am. I'm talking about strength and dominating people. Today's episode's a big one. People are going to love this.
Okay.
My least favourite thing in D&D.
Okay.
The topic is combat.
Oh.
So let's get to it. Today's topic is combat. Is there a right time to introduce it? When is combat overused? And can sessions exclude combat altogether? Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to eat a pie and then split the remains with 4 bugbears who are in fact allergic to pecan, and they're looking really fussed, flatulently angered.
Okay.
What am I doing in that situation?
Having a midlife crisis, by the sounds of it. Well, you're eating a full pie, then splitting the remains.
Yes.
Are they eating it from within your stomach? Are you also eating the bug? I think that's how you get out of that scenario.
If I had the ability to split pie after
eating it,
after digesting it, I wouldn't be on this podcast.
True, but I think
I would be in people's rooms telling them I was stronger than them
whilst they're asleep,
rather than at home saying it. I would still be flatulently angered.
I think what you do in that situation is you eat the bugbears, you let them squabble within your stomach, and then whilst they're panicking in your stomach acid, you go inside yourself into your stomach. Like you're watching
Eat, Love, Pray.
Yeah, no, like you're watching Eren in the Titan's stomach and just say...
Attack on Titan for anyone who doesn't know what that is.
Thank you. And then you say, I'm stronger than you. And you leave it at that.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. So, I'm going to wing the questions a little bit this time. Okay. I've only got 2 written down.
It's not like you to be unprepared.
No. I'm prepared with my notes.
Yes.
I'm prepared with the intro, the outro. I still haven't learned them. But I'm not prepared with the questions.
No, okay.
And I am flatulently angered. And I'm going to keep saying it because I think it just sounds nice. It rolls off the tongue.
It sounds nice.
Anyway.
Not for me.
Playing styles. Is there a type of player that you resent when playing alongside or DMing for in terms of combat?
Yes.
No comment.
Yes, full stop.
No flatulence.
Yes. I think there's a type of player everyone hates, and there's...
You're out there, buddy.
Yeah, you know what we're talking about. It's the type of players that either have to always be the winner, even in their own group. It's the one who always has to be the best. When you're... Like, Dungeons & Dragons is a team game. It's just a bunch of friends getting together and having a bit of escapism in a role-playing game. And if you're there just trying to be better than everyone else you're playing with, which we've seen so many players act like that, it just ruins it. It ruins it for the other players, it ruins it for the dungeon masters. And I think that's not necessarily a type of build, that's just a type of player. In terms of builds, are there ones that are worse? I'm going to say no. it's largely how they're used.
There's some really trashy, overpowered, broken builds.
Yeah.
Let's not beat around the bush, but it's how people play it. You can have a really cool build that you go, in most settings this wouldn't be allowed, but depends on, if you have all the power in the world, what are you, like, if you have a ring of 3 wishes, what are you using it on?
Yeah, exactly. It's largely to do with the players and not the characters, because if you like you said, you could be the most overpowered player at the table, and even, let's say, you're overpowered for your level, but if you roleplay that well, if you play that build well, and let's say some of your personality traits or your flaws kind of make it more difficult for you to act in that way, or in a way which demonstrates your power, then it can really work well to helping the session progress and helping the other players feel like they're still contributing. I think that's the more important thing. Everyone at the table should be involved.
Well, that does go on to my next question, which is my last question that I've written down. Does the best combat involve strategy and teamwork?
I think the best stuff, yes. You can still have combat which is just... It's like, let's say, the start of the Lost Mines of Phandelver campaign, where you are ambushed by goblins. You can use strategy in that, but you don't need to. It's literally just going down a road, and if you don't spot them, 2 to 4 goblins jump out at you. That doesn't require a lot of thinking. It's just kill the goblins, chase them if they run away, and survive. But if you've got combat where you actively need to think in your character to get around puzzles, or whether it's the villains doing things you don't expect, or if there are bystanders, NPCs in the way that you need to try and avoid harming, things like that, I think the best combat encounters are more than just waiting for your turn, rolling a dice, doing damage. I think if you've got other goals as well, then it's obviously going to make it more interesting. When
you're a player, do you mind if there are other players who are just more capable than you, and they kind of wipe the floor with the situation? How would you go about that as well? Are you fine with that, like, personally? Or if it makes sense that, say for instance, you're a wizard, they're a fighter, and it's mostly close quarters, close distance.
Yeah, the fight's going to do the more.
Yeah, like, are you a bit like, you're a bit just...
I think it depends.
Is it on the DM for putting that scenario, or...
Not necessarily. I think it's always difficult if you're in a party, especially, let's say, if it's a long-running campaign and there's one player who is clearly more overpowered than everyone else, then that will get old. It's okay every now and then, for example, in like a West Matches server like ours, like if you've got one shot, you are bound to meet other players that have been in the world longer and that are a bit more powerful. But yeah, if you're in a campaign and there is one character who is always just wiping through everything and you're just kind of following them along, then in that case, I think the campaign will get boring for you very quickly.
2 more questions, because we are running out of time.
Okay.
Quick one. Is there a rule you would love to get rid of?
Ooh.
In combat?
I don't think so. There are a few rules which I might change. But rules that I'd get rid of, probably not. The only one, I've mentioned this on a previous one, on our rules episode, one of the rules that I don't follow is that when you're rolling death saves, if you get a nat 20, that stabilises you. I'd probably get rid of, and I'd keep a nat 20 as 2 successes, but that's only me being particular.
I would get rid of the disengage, 100%.
Yeah. It's a cop out.
It's such a cop out. It's the easy, and do you know what? The only people who use it are the people that go in first.
Yeah.
The ones who think they could just Swiss Army Man the session are the ones that then want to disengage for the free cheat,
I know what you mean. I think disengage, if used wisely, can be very useful, but I think if you disengage, it should disengage from one enemy, not everyone.
Yeah, getting away at 5 feet and then
running past 3 other enemies.
Yeah, I've seen that too many times.
Stuff like that I hate. But if you're doing it, let's say, to strategically get away from you to run in let's say if you're a rogue and you attack someone else, then fair play.
That's fair. Okay, last question. What is your ideal combat scenario?
I think...
As a player and as a DM?
I think as both, because it adds tension, it adds stress, you've got things to think about. It's timed ones, but also timed ones with a challenge. So, for example, let's say if you're in the middle of a large dungeon, or even a town or something, and a cult is infiltrated, and completing some ritual at the centre of this town to unleash a demon or to destroy this town. Let's say something like that. And you've got to fight through your way. You fight through hordes of, let's say, fleeing NPCs, but also enemies that are trying to push you back and keep you away. It's tense because you've only got a limited amount of time, and I think that's where music can really help this situation. But also, it's fun in that you've got to think about if, let's say, if enemies are casting fireballs at you, and you don't want to cast fireballs back because there are good NPCs that are fleeing. It's ones that actually require thought, and it's not just, what do you do on your turn? I guess I just swing my axe.
Yeah,
All right, roll for damage.
Like a level of
thought behind it.
Yeah, there's a level of intelligence going into a situation. It might just be 5 goblins in a field. Brilliant. But quite often you'd hope that it's not as simple as that. Exactly. As a player and as a DM, you better be planning something that the players can remember.
Exactly.
Or feels challenging.
What's your ideal?
Yeah, I think it involves, I think we talked about in the environments, landscapes thing. Things that make people roll for the environment around them during combat is always a really good one. Love having battle music in there. And it doesn't even matter about the scenario itself, but the music adds pressure anyway. I think everyone enjoys that, whether it's online or in person.
Yeah.
And then usually it will mean something. Those 5 goblins mean nothing now, but it could be in a couple of sessions' time. It turns out you needed them, or people are looking for them. Can you help? And the people you talk to are brilliant, but then it turns out, okay, I actually didn't know what happened to them. You know, that kind of thing where like actions have consequences.
Where you do it and you kill them and think, wait, are we the bad guys? Yeah. Like my classic is, I love to have if someone kills a bandit or a goblin or something, just have a little note from their child fall out the pocket, just like, have a good day at work, Dad.
A photo of you. Okay, well, quick one as always for our outro. Today's adventure is sadly coming to a close, but we are back again next week with the topic, when is enough enough, and how do I get my kids back? And as always, thank you for tuning in, and if you'd like to join in on the D&D action or just support this show, then please head over to our server Patreon, Adventures in Alandra, which can also be found in today's podcast description, and join us on Twitter at WhatAmID&D. I've been Connor Kinsey.
I've been Lewis McCaffery.
Good day.
Adios.